The last time a Slovakian football club won a European competition was in 1969, when Slovan Bratislava defeated Barcelona 3-2 in the final of the Cup Winners' Cup to take home the trophy. And in the same season, Spartak Trnava made it all the way to the semi-finals of the European Cup, which is now known as the Champions League. These kind of heights have not been seen by a Slovakian club since. But today, I'm starting a series where I am going to attempt to help at least one Slovakian club win a European trophy. This is Build a Nation. Mr. Kong has taken control of Trencin in the top tier of Slovakia. Trencin, this is from Football Manager, says they were founded in 1992, and despite being a relatively young club, they have managed to win the Slovak First Division twice, which happened in 2015 and 2016. But they've also won the Slovak Cup 3 times. Now, this is the confusing part. They won it in 1978, before they were founded, according to Football Manager. And I did not put enough research into this. Anyway, Trencin are a club with some generally recent history. Their current team's best players are not actually Slovakian, but they are Serbian. This includes goalkeeper Andrija Katic, powerful midfielder Luka Zoric, and also playmaker Armin Derlick. These 3 players will be crucial for this first season. Trencin has also been granted some great regens by Football Manager to start his save with. Hodlik, the right back, has been good enough to get a starting role. And Bolin, Holly and Janisic are also good enough to be given roles within the squad. This could benefit us massively in the future. With the season underway, Trencin needed a good start to help their goals of earning a place in European qualifying next season. And a good start is what they got, with a 2-0 victory in the first game against Michalovce, thanks to goals from Sevcik and Egbu. 2 draws then followed that up, but they were against 2 of the best teams in the league, Slovan Bratislava and Dunstreda. The great start to the season continued as goals kept coming in and Trencin kept winning until a 9-goal thriller against Rosenberok, where Trencin got beat 4-5 at their home ground. And then form dropped a little, from there only grabbing 1 win in 6 matches, and in doing so they also dropped points to top of the table rivals Dunstreda, as they got battered 3-0 at home. But thankfully, in December, Mr. Kong managed to turn things round and grab 3 wins, which sets the club up quite nicely in 3rd place at the halfway point. With the transfer window now open, Mr. Kong decided he should try and sign some new players. But when he went to take a look at the finances, he saw the club was almost £500,000 in debt and had no money available to buy any players. During this transfer window, something else went horribly wrong. The morale in the squad had diminished. Mr. Kong was facing a revolution from his players. And with a bad morale comes bad results. This is how things ended before the league split. If Trencin wanted a chance at European qualifiers, they would have to fix their attitudes and their form. Just before the league split, though, a massive boost was brought into the team. An excellent youth intake, with centre-back Patrick Ferenc being the main player, and he looks extremely good. Perhaps he's the future of Slovakian football. Now, after the league is split, Trencin were placed in the championship group, which is the top 6 teams all playing against each other. Mr. Kong started that championship group by getting the team back to winning ways. He grabbed 3 wins from 3 games and stopped the revolution that the players were starting beneath him. After those first 3 games of the championship split, the rest of the games just kept going well. The team kept ticking, as the only team he dropped points to was Spartak Trnava. They finished the season really strong and went on to win the league, with Dunstreda falling just 2 points behind them, and Trencin finished 3rd, just 5 points off the top of the table as well. The last team to gain European qualification was Slovan Bratislava, who actually had quite a poor season for their standards, as they finished in 7th place but managed to win the playoffs to grant them Europa Conference League playoffs next season. During all of that league drama, Trencin were having a pretty good cup run, making it all the way to the semi-finals, where they would have to play league winners Spartak Trnava. The first leg was pretty boring, 1-0 win for Trnava, But the second leg saw Trencin take it to extra time and win 6-4 on aggregate, meaning Mr. Kong had guided his side to a cup final in his first season. And this cup final would be played against Dunstreda. This final started really well for Trencin as Dusan Hawley bagged his first 11 minutes in and then doubled his tally just 12 minutes later, and then Sevcik scored from the edge of the box before Bayo scored a very nice goal for Dunstreda, which was not enough to stop Mr. Kong and his boys winning their first trophy for this series, the Slovak Cup, hopefully with many more to come. Now, at the start of the season, 4 clubs were allowed into European qualifiers with a chance to make it into the groups. These 4 teams were Slovan Bratislava, Dunstreda, Spartak, Trnava and Ruzomberok. These 4 teams needed to do well in the qualifiers to give us a chance at moving up the European rankings. By using Google's AI, we can find out that the European ranking system determines on how many teams are allowed to enter the European competitions and what round of qualifying they are allowed to enter. It's calculated by tallying up points earned for every team in a country and then dividing them by the amount of clubs that entered these competitions. So for Slovakia, it would be 4. And we can see here in Football Manager, it shows us that because England are their only team in qualifying is through the Conference League, and the other 6 teams get to go to the group stage automatically. But because Slovakia are all the way down in 27th, all 4 of the teams have to go through qualifying. Now let's check on how these 4 teams got on in their qualifying. Ruzomberok had the first games in the Europa Conference League, and they actually did pretty well, being NK Bravo over 2 legs, but sadly falling to Trabzonspor, meaning they were out of qualifying and could no longer qualify to a European competition. Spartak Trnava were up next. They actually went on a great run in qualifying, only losing to Hapoel Beersheva 5-4 on aggregate, where they conceded an own goal in the 92nd minute, meaning they were only 1 goal away from qualifying to the group stage. How tragic. Dunstreda's run was awful, as they lost both of their qualifying games to Noah FC of Armenia. Moving swiftly on, Slovan Bratislava were the first qualifiers. They started their journey in the Champions League qualifying, so it's kind of an advantage to finish top of your league here. And they beat Dynamo Minsk in this before falling to FCSB of Romania, where that dropped them into the Europa League qualifiers. But sadly, they lost to Midtjylland there, which means they had to win against KF Ignacia to qualify to the Conference League, which they did do, which meant they were drawn into the Europa Conference League group stage. Their group consisted of Legia Warsaw from Poland, Braga from Portugal, and Larne from Northern Ireland. Slovan Bratislava's awful league form seems to have been because of how well they were performing in the Conference League, as they managed to pick up 3 wins and a draw from their group, but sadly, the 2 losses cost them the qualification to the knockouts as they finished 3rd in their group, missing out on just 1 point. Sadly, their good performance actually meant nothing, as we stayed 27th in the coefficient ranks for next season, but hopefully with Trencin in the running, this will change.